good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, based on where you are joining. Welcome to the Tranquil session. And today's guest is Onno Faber. He had an amazing inner journey that he's going to share with us. Onno is also a dear friend, so he's also, going to be your tranquilizer today. So he's going to lead the meditation session, and Onno is, has led this meditation sessions at at various meetings, including Burning Man. He has every year a camp, which he's going to miss this year. So I think we can capitalize on this opportunity to have him lead the discussion. Onno, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. It's it's wonderful to be here and to do this. And frankly, when you invited me, I felt, hey, this is also a good opportunity for me to relax and actually journey inwards, because I have been working very hard in the last couple of weeks. And if you're home, you don't know when to stop. And I think that's incredibly important, to know when to stop and to sometimes do nothing. That can be a little more challenging, I think, these days, when there is really nowhere to go. I mean, you're at home and the walls can close in on you, so it might be more uncomfortable. But once you go through that, I think it's actually a really good opportunity to journey inwards a bit more, and just do nothing and observe. And I try to make that a practice, a regular practice. And maybe to share, there is a Dutch word. I'm from the Netherlands originally, and I moved here 6 years ago. And there is a Dutch word called niksen, and niksen is literally the verbalized version of nothing. So it freely translates as doing nothing, but we actually have a word for it. So I'm not sure what that says about my culture and where I'm from, but I think it's actually a really cool concept and a cool word. And it's not the same as meditation, actually, because I think meditation practice can be very different for everyone. It's a container term, but I think in most meditation practices, you have focus on something. And niksen is really not even that. It's without any effort, just whatever, doing nothing, staring in front of you, and think about nothing. And I think it's really, really important to do that, and to reconnect to yourself, and just let everything be the way it is at that point. Another thing I think I'm thinking while meditating a lot about all the other people in this world that are going through probably similar emotions. I think we all are biologically wired in a certain way as human beings, as a species, and this is one of the first times, I think, in a long period of time, where we actually feel the impact of something like this globally. And if you think about things like climate change, you could say it's similar, but climate change is so slow that we don't really feel the direct impact of that. But now we have to deal with this, and it's very immediate, and it goes very fast. And we are all in it, like, no matter where you are in the world. And I think about all the other people a lot, and we all have our emotional experience, and I think it's even more important now that we work and act as a species. And I hope that can also be a good lesson moving forward, when this slowly fades out, this problem fades out. We will have other challenges where we need each other, and we need to think and work globally as a species, and where the borders don't matter. We will have many challenges like that. in, well, I think the couple coming 100 years, maybe 100 years, hundreds of years, I don't know. I cannot see beyond that, but it's clear that we will have more challenges. We do, live and influence. Like, one country cannot really do something on their own without influencing everything else. Like, we all live on the same planet, and that becomes more and more obvious. And this is an experience where we are directly confronted with that fact. And my belief and my hope is that may be actually a very important experience for us moving forward.
Thank you for sharing that, Onno. Yeah, while you were speaking, I was a little bit nixoning at your background, and I see that we are on the same Tranquil Island. We should see each other somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, there you are.
Yeah, so no, amazing. Yeah, this is and nixoning, is that the nix? How do you call it? Like, is it a verb, or how do you...
Yeah, nixon is a verb. It's one word, and it's a verb. Yeah, and it's actually like, I think it's cool to have a word for it, because if you have a word for something, it means it's a concept in society, right? Where you agree on together on what it means, and you agree that it has a place in your society. So I really enjoy language, actually, in this regard. And in languages you can also see different cultures express themselves differently. And truth be told, I'm not a native English speaker, so I don't know as many words as a native speaker. But I've talked to a lot of people about words like these, and there doesn't seem to be an equivalent in English. So maybe this is an opportunity to introduce a new word and start using it. Nixon.
Yeah, so Onno,
and you can spell it however you want.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Yeah, let's so on this Tranquil Island, I think before we get into meditation and the tranquil space, I would like to ask you to share your inner journey. Like, I know you had an amazing experience. So if you can share with us before we lead into the meditation session, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the meditation I want to host today and want to guide you through is also related to my inner journey. I came from the Netherlands here about 6 years ago with a technology company. Actually, we were building a video messaging application for close friends, and to improve and deepen relationships, because I felt the opposite was happening, and things were getting more shallow, and everything was about posing, and it was very hard to be vulnerable online. So those were my motivations, which it's actually interesting that company doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but it would be very relevant today. I was always interested in this topic, in human relationships. And when I moved here about 6 years ago, I started slowly losing my hearing on the left side. And the doctors didn't really know what it was. It took half a year of tests and different diagnoses to finally find out that I had a tumor in the brain. And it was slowly destroying my hearing nerve. And they told me, you're going to lose that ear, and we're just follow the tumor and see what happens to it. And of course, that was a very scary moment. Like, it's been a while, so I talk about it very lightly. But the moment you experience that, it's pretty confronting. You don't expect that. Like, we didn't expect this COVID pandemic to hit us. So similarly, you really don't expect it. But it was about to get worse because they made a follow-up scan 6 months later, and they found a second tumor on my other hearing nerve and one in my spine, and they diagnosed me with a rare genetic condition. And when I had the doctor on the phone, when he told me, he was still in the Netherlands. I still didn't have a US health insurance, so I had my doctor still in the Netherlands, and he told me, and he said, like, you should Google it. The disease is called NF2. You should Google it. So I hung up. Of course, I was scared. I Googled it, and I saw that people with this disease, they can go blind, deaf, and paralyzed because of tumors in the central nervous system that just can, have the chance to take out the central nervous system functions, most typically the hearing. And that was a very scary idea. And I was starting to wonder, what am I without these inputs? What would I be without hearing and seeing? How does that affect my consciousness? And, I quickly thought, okay, this is happening to me. This is just a new reality I have to get used to. But I wanted to see what I could do with this, and if I could use my background to help and to start a new chapter in life. So that's what I started doing. I created another company called RDMD that works on rare disease research. Now I'm starting on other projects. I have three or four other projects that I'm starting up, and we met actually at a hackathon that I organized together with another group around my own genetic data, in order for people here in Silicon Valley, like entrepreneurs, scientists, technology people, engineers, in order to give them an opportunity to work with this enormous amount of genetic data that I had from myself, and see if we could inspire people to think about these problems, and not necessarily about how to make more money selling ads on one of the social media platforms. So just trying to direct attention. But very similarly, I think it's important now that facing the consequences of not only the virus itself, but also the lockdown, what that does to our lives, to us mentally, to our financial situation, everything. You cannot really change the outside circumstances. I have this metaphor about being on a boat in an ocean, and if you're behind the rudder, you can really, all you can do is move the rudder around and maybe pull the ropes of the sails, but you have absolutely no control of the ocean and the storms and the currents and the waves, right? That's something, just external circumstances that you have to accept. If you're trying to fight the waves and I wish this wave wouldn't be there, or I wish this storm wouldn't be there, you're in it. All you can do is really move the rudder and pull the ropes. And the same now. So we have to a certain extent accept what's happening around us and what we can control, and take control of what we can, and take our own rudders and manipulate those. And I think that's really important. It can be challenging too. So we need to help each other sometimes and connect to our friends, be vulnerable, share what you're struggling with. And I think we'll see that, everybody has, probably very similar experiences, or familiar experiences at least. So, long story short, I think this is, also my introduction to the meditation I want to guide, which will be a journey through our senses. So in the face of losing my hearing, I started actually to appreciate it a lot more than I used to. I was just not aware of it. It's always there. We just assume that we hear it, right? That we can talk to each other, that we can, listen to music or hear the doorbell. And sometimes we are annoyed by our senses when you hear a sound that you don't like or that triggers an association you don't like. You might be annoyed with it, but all in all, I think it's amazing that you can hear. And I got a lot more appreciation for that. I started listening to music very differently, with a lot more attention and appreciation of how beautiful the acoustic ear is, and how much information it can capture in how much detail. Like if you're at a bar, for example, there might be 30 people in the bar yelling at each other, like glasses clattering in the bar, and there's noise everywhere. But you can still, there's so much detail, so much information that your brain can process everything and filter out that one voice that you want to actually focus on and hear. And I think that's quite amazing that it has this capability. So
amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome your today's tranquilizer, Onno Faber, and he's going to lead us into a tranquil state with a meditation that he has planned. Onno, go ahead.
So to start, maybe make sure you're comfortable seating and in your seat, and you don't necessarily have to look at the screen or the camera. Just like take a comfortable position and realize that right now your consciousness and your conscious experience is highly dependent on all your senses and everything that comes in through your senses to the brain and is processed there. And your consciousness is not only about what's happening now in this moment and what comes in right now, but it's also about all your past experiences. Because if you have sensory input, you remember past experiences, and the experience that's triggered by it is the result of how we learned to interpret that signal. So even right now, as you listen to my voice and the language I use, that creates an experience that you would never have had the same way when you were a baby, for example, and didn't understand this language and how to interpret these sounds. So right now, I want to guide you through a journey of your senses, and we're going through all five. We'll start with sight, then we go through smell, taste, hearing, and touch. And I'm going to guide you through it, and we take a brief moment with every sense, and we try to experience it all. So to start with sight, so I want you to open your eyes and not particularly stare at one point, but to try to see the whole field of vision. Everything around you, all the light that comes into your eyes. So there's light coming without moving your eyes. There's light coming everywhere, like the corners and center. There's light coming from above and below. And there's this whole picture that's generated. There are different colors. There's different intensities. It's light that is all around you, and just your eyes are a sensor for it. And through the lens, it forms this projection. Really like take in the whole space around you as one big stream of data and light. Now just close your eyes as we move on to smell. The smell is something we might also not always be aware of, but we always smell, even if we don't want to. There's always air in our nostrils, and our sensors there are always triggered. So try to focus on what you smell now. Also, you can notice the difference while breathing. Maybe if you breathe in, more air is flowing through these sensors and passing by. Then maybe a certain smell is more intense. If you don't think you smell anything, well, maybe your brain just filtered it out normally because it's something you're used to. But try to get back into almost a beginner's mind and smell the air. Then we can keep our eyes closed and we move on to our taste, which is of course very close to the smell and very related. But right now, we're just observing. We're not particularly eating anything or triggering particular taste buds, but we still have a taste, we still have input, just like with the smell. So without even moving your tongue, just letting everything rest, what is it that you smell? What is it that you taste right now? What's triggered? Try to see if you can tune into that normal taste that you always have. No, let's keep our eyes closed still and move on to hearing. Sound. Just realize that sound ultimately is just vibrating air hitting your eardrums, putting your eardrums in vibration. And then there are these very sensitive organs inside of your inner ear that convert this vibrating air to electrical signals that are going to your brain. So tune into that, tune into that vibrating air. Maybe even just without trying to distinguish the different sounds, just almost as if you've never heard before. It's the first time you're hearing something. Just as a sensory input. And now, while we still keep our eyes closed, we move to touch. You might feel your clothes touching your skin, for example. Or maybe there's some air movement that you feel in your skin, or the pressure, how gravity pulls your body into the chair. Just connect with all those senses that allow us to experience that and touch through the skin. And in the last part of this session, let's see if we can experience all at once. So as you also include the sight now by opening your eyes, just keep that broad field of vision that you had in the beginning. You see if you can connect to all of these senses just at once, in one instance. Experience everything, the world around you, as far as our senses can perceive it. What leads to your consciousness. Experience it all at once. Well, thank you for your practice and enjoy all of your senses.
Thank you, Onno. Thank you very much. This has been very blissful. I think what you brought to us was how to connect with yourself and connect with your senses, and how do we be an observer of those senses. And while we are paying attention, we are also getting a chance to meditate. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing this. And I would open for the for questions. So anybody has questions for Onno, please ask him.
Onno, this is Swamini. I would just like to say thank you so much. What a splendid meditation. What a lovely, comforting voice you have. A very nice pace, and one that really brought us to a place of deep integration. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Anna, this is Robin. I just wanted to say thank you as well. Have a lot of stuff to do this afternoon, and I'm getting through all of this by yoga and meditation breaks through the day. So I understand it's a time to take a moment.
Great.
Oh no, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to embrace our senses and in the doing nothing, which I love. And that we're not just doing nothing, but we're doing something in a way. So, but we need to do nothing. And I appreciate your guiding us that way. So thank you again. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Very welcome.
I'd like to thank you too. And I have to share that it was a very sort of almost overwhelming experience when we brought all of them together for me. And I was having these like tingling sensations So I appreciated that, and I think it taught us all really, what does it mean to open up to that kind of an experience that we don't normally or ever do. So thank you. It was new for me, and I really enjoyed it, and I'll do that again on my own.
Very nice. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Onno. I as well very deeply went into that meditation, and your calm, commanding voice that worked through your presence to me was palpable. So thank you.
Great. I'm very happy to hear that. Yeah.
I wanted to thank you, Onno, and Prasun for making this, because we really lose ourselves in this crazy world now with the problems, the disease, but also before we had lost much of us and overworking and doing everything, and you lose the angel that we have in our mind. So I thank Prasun for making this true, and you for your participation today, which is a great experience. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for joining.
That was Mauricio Viviani from Italy. So he joined us, part of our task force. Thank you, Onno. Thank you for your amazing this amazing experience, and we look forward to doing more of it. Any concluding thoughts, Onno?
No, I want to thank everybody as well for joining and opening up to this. And I think, as I said, there are many different ways to meditate, or do nothing, and doing nothing is kind of a paradox, actually, because it's hard, because we are still alive and breathing, indeed. But I think it's still like a really interesting gateway to our minds in different ways. So, yeah, thank you for experiencing this and participating.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.